We're going to do a second example that is trying to find out when this graph is increasing and decreasing. So just a real quick, we're trying to figure out when this cubic is going to be increasing and decreasing. So we're going to do some calc. We're talking about increasing and decreasing, which really means we're talking about positive slopes and negative slopes, which means we're talking about the derivative. So we're going to do the derivative of this. And if I do the derivative of this, I'm going to get a 6x squared plus 6x, and then that would drop off. So let's take this and set it equal to 0. So setting it equal to 0 is going to figure out when we transition from positive slopes to negative slopes or negative slopes to positive slopes, that they have to pass through the 0. So if we solve this, we're going to factor a 6x out. That'll leave us with the 6 plus 1. And then x equals 0, x equals -1. Those are our two solutions. So we'll jump down and we're going to analyze the slopes in between those points. So those are our slopes of 0, which means this whole section is going to be either positive or negative, positive or negative, positive or negative. So we're going to plug in values into this to figure out, because this is our slope equation, to figure out what kinds of slopes we have. So technically this is our slope equation, but here it's easier if I just plug in and talk about the signs that are multiplying together. I don't actually need to know the value. I just need to know if it's positive or negative. So if I plug in a -2 into this, I'll have a negative value. And then if I plug in a -2 here, I'll have another negative value. And those two negatives are going to multiply together to make a positive. So there's an increasing section. Then if I plug in a value between these two numbers, like a -1/2, still have a negative value here, but a -1/2 plus a 1 is going to be positive. And then that's going to multiply out to a negative. And if I plug something greater than 0, like a 1, we have a positive times a positive, which is going to be positive. So we have an increasing section, decreasing section, increasing section. So answers are, we're looking for an increasing section. So we're going to be looking for when it's increasing from -infinity to -1 and 0 to infinity. And then it's decreasing from -1 to 0. And notice how we're not including those values because those are where slopes are 0. And so if it's a slope of 0, it's not increasing or decreasing. So I don't want to include those points. And one other kind of quick check, we kind of go back to pre-calc college algebra. You have a cubic that's a positive. So it's going to have some sort of a look like this. I don't really know the exact details, but it has an end behavior up and an end behavior down because it's a positive. And so we have an increasing section, a decreasing section, and an increasing section, which is agreeing perfectly with what we got going on with this. So that was a quick example of figuring out how do you know when a graph is increasing or decreasing.